Welcome to the introduction of my new homestead, 100-acre ranch. We are going to start our tour with the entrance, which is right at this location right here, and we'll be providing some pictures. Then we're going to be walking down to the house here and follow this trail along here up to the cabin. Then we'll walk back to this the house here and take the path here to the abandoned campsite, which is down here at this area right over here near the creek. The creek follows this. This is the creek as it goes by the entrance. Then from there we're going to actually start our walk around the property line, and we start by following the creek here for quite a ways until we part off on this area. We split off away from the creek and start climbing into the mountains here. This is another ditch. There's quite a few. This the ground goes up and the hill goes back down here and then climbs back up all the way to here, then down again, and over here this is really steep and difficult climb, and then we have to climb back down this way. Then on this part is another creek that enters the property down through here, which joins the main creek here. Then we'll climb back up this way over this mountain here, go down to this property marker here, then walk down the hill, and finally come up to the main creek that enters the property here. Now, it does start about half a mile up the mountain here, but this is where it enters the property, and the main stream goes down here, through here, cuts across here, and then joins the other one here. There's about 3 creeks that join at this point and go down the property here and way down. So we're going to walk down to here, try to find it, and just walk down the creek. This trip here to do this kind of a rectangular we did here this day, it took us over 5 hours to do this walk. It's extremely difficult and challenging, not only because of the altitude, but also the overgrowth on the property. The surveyors did cut through the trees, but it was very tight and very difficult. We begin here at the entrance, where the overgrowth is so thick that you can barely make out the pillars, and you can't even distinguish the creek. One of the first things I needed to do was to repair the culvert. It had been washed away with years of abandonment. I repaired the right side of the culvert with block, and later on I decided to go a little more natural. On the left side I used the actual rock and tried to blend it in to make it look more natural. Now, making the entrance more presentable, we head over to the house. The house was totally overrun with trees. There were practically about 40 trees growing under the house and even between doorways. The house is in pretty bad shape, and it should be condemned and knocked down. Unfortunately, my nature is to repair things, so I was going to attempt it. So we begin with making the entrance accessible. From the entrance, which is right here, those are the 2 pillars, stone pillars. From here to the house is 200 feet, and our trip now is going to be from the house. We're going to follow the trail that goes around this way up to the cabin, and that's about 800 feet. So this is the area we're headed right now. That's the cabin, and actually the outhouse is right there, which I will be showing some pictures of that too. On the way to the cabin, we can see evidence of the fire that was here at the mountain about 10 years ago. And it's amazing how not all the trees burned, just some. The property had been abandoned for over 20 years. The house was in very sad shape, but this cabin was not too bad. And with the outhouse, a few boards, a new seat, and we're ready to move in. Now we'll make our way back towards the house, and we're gonna walk from here and follow this trail that's here that heads straight to the abandoned campsite. That's this area right here. This walk is about a quarter mile. This campsite consisted of many tents, full-size mattresses, toasters, and many other items. We begin following the property line from the abandoned campsite. Crossing the creek and making our way through the brush, we follow the property markers. After a long hike through the mountains and brush, we stop for a small break. All right, so we're working on no smoking, right? Cool. Yeah, rub it in, rub it in, rub it in.
Rub it in.
Now, see, the thing is when the leaves are out, you can't see over there. It
No,
looks like a flat
not at all,
canopy.
because everything's gonna be all
Right, but it
filled
looks like
in.
it looks like a flat canopy right across.
Yeah.
After crawling on our hands and knees to climb the steep hills, we came upon the first creek. At first sight, I was a little disappointed. I thought this was all the water I was going to have to work with. My idea is to run a water line from the top of the mountain down to the house with the intention of running a small electric generator. We continued following the property markers until we found the main creek.
This is a big one.
After 5 hours of hiking, a distance of 1.3 miles, it was time to return, following the creek, back to the abandoned campsite. This map is a study that I had done by the Department of Forestry. The blue lines represent the creeks, and the red dotted lines are the current trails. The yellow area shows us the hardwoods, which are 80 plus years old. The green areas are pines that are 80 plus years old. And the purple are hardwoods, which are only 10 years old. This does not make any sense since the property has been abandoned for over 25 years.
Give it a minute. Give it a minute. Give it a poof. Oh, sure. I picked a piece of cardboard that doesn't burn.